All right. Hey, y'all. All right, so we just wanted to check in for a little pillow talk. Now, we don't have much time because it is date night, hence the way I'm dressed and his shirt.
I'm almost dressed.
He is dressed. His shirt is just hanging up. He just doesn't want to wrinkle it because he's that guy. We wanted to, well, first of all, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Chrisi.
I'm Kendrick.
And this is definitely how-to on relationships. First off, a lot of people who do know us know that on Martin Luther King Day of this year in January, we got engaged. And as you can see, 2 weeks later, we got unengaged. And we aren't ashamed of that.
Nope.
I'm going to go ahead and say it was very mutual. It was more so one of those things where I'm sure he was feeling it, but I'm the one who said it. And that's normally how our relationship goes.
She does the talking.
Exactly. So, just to give you a quick synopsis, it was one of those things where last year in July, excuse me. All right. Last year in July, we got back together. We started dating in 2008, and we dated for 2 years, and it was very rocky. If you want to know why our relationship was rocky for those 2 years, you can leave a comment below. And you just ask. Anything you ask, we'll be willing to talk about, because we're not necessarily an open book. We're not one of those couples where we want everybody in our business. However, I feel like our relationship can help a lot of relationships, because we're talking about an 8-year cycle. And it took us breaking up to get back together. After we decided to get back together, I had a whole entire child, Arian, by another man. I was actually a few weeks pregnant, didn't even know what I was having. And he made me mad because I wanted a girl, and he told me I was having a boy, and I had a boy. But at the moment, I was like, why would you say that? Because I was hormonal. But anyway, we got back together July 31st of 2016, and immediately we were like, we're going to get married. We were going to elope. My father's a pastor. My brother's a pastor. We're like, we're going to do it in the living room. We're going to have a couple people there, and it's just going to be perfect for us. But he moved. He quit his job.
Yeah.
Moved up here to New Jersey, and he stopped talking about marriage. And it was October, November, when I was just like, all right, so you're going to move up here and with my preacher daddy and me, because I was living at home at the time. And I'm like, and you're just not going to talk about marriage, because my father, he's a very good man, so my dad never even really brought it up to me. I'm sure he brought it up to my mom. But needless to say, it was very awkward. Excuse me. I don't know. Okay. Well, anywho, so as you can imagine, that did create a tension in our relationship. And he's, the introvert. I'm a combination of both. And I'm just, like really confused, because I'm just like, he's not mentioning it. I don't know how to bring it up. And these months go by, and it seems like the tension is building in our relationship. And so we thought, okay, maybe he's going to have to go home. And, because the job market's hard, and it was a really awkward time for us.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
It really was. And so I'm like, yeah, all right, maybe it's best you do go home. So then something happened, and we realized he didn't have to go home. And so we both invested in getting our own place. And so I was very excited about that. I had been living with my parents for 3 years, single mother. So it was just the smartest option, and it really helped financially. And then now I'm like, oh, I'm moving out, and we find the perfect house for me, him, and my son, and we do all of that, and we move out, right? Because we thought it would fix things, and that was like what, December 1st.
Yeah.
That we moved in.
Beginning of December.
Yeah. So December 1st, we moved in to our house, and I'm like, yes, everything's better. So we're playing along because, once again, we both, I think, were feeling the same thing the whole time, but we know we love each other, so we were just enduring
Absolutely.
it. And January rolled around, and Martin Luther King Day came, and we're at a Fridays, and I go to the bathroom, and I come back. It's me, him, and my son. I'm talking like my hair was just so messy. It just, girls, ladies, you already know. We want to be surprised, but we don't want to be surprised, right? Hold this. I think my hair is so big. Natural girl hair. Oh. Natural hair problems. You like my hair?
I love it.
I know. I love wigs. I love my hair. All right, so I come back from the bathroom, and my son has his fist like this, and he's like, do you want mommy to have it? And he's like, yes. And then I open my hand, and he hands me this ring, and he tells me everything he would have said had he had the opportunity to propose like the day before. And I was kind of like, but I'm like, and I'm so like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And we got engaged. And then a week later, after much conversation, I was just like, not that it's my job to tell you how you should propose, but it didn't seem planned. And I thought that planning it would fix it. So I lie to you not, a week later, he proposes again with a new ring. It came undone. Can you tell?
No.
You don't know. You didn't see it. I'm gonna clip it with my forehead already wrinkly. See if that works. So, with a new ring, and this time my family is there, my father's there. He's actually discussed it with my parents, and he reproposes with a whole speech. This time, very personal, very original, at the Cheesecake Factory. And I said yes again. Mind you, this is my third time saying yes. You have no idea about the first time. If you want to know about the first time he proposed, please ask us in the comments below. But I said yes, and then we celebrated all weekend. We got drunk with the Russians. You guys will meet the Russians, okay? When you want to meet the Russians, comment that I want to meet the Russians.
Or just keep watching.
Right.
Because you might meet the Russians.
We hang out with the Russians once a year, all right? And when you hang out with the Russians with us, you will know why. We will hang out twice. We've already hung out with them once this year. We'll do it twice if you want us to, okay? But we celebrated with them that night. It was just a really good night because, just the idea of spending the rest of my life with my best friend, I don't know. It just was, I think it's every girl's dream, right? And he happens to be real sexy. So, and so nice. Such a good man.
I try to be.
You are.
I try.
But you're succeeding.
Well, thank
you. Okay. All right, so, anyway.
Back to the story.
So, the issue with the second proposal, because we didn't tell you about the first, was that it felt like it wasn't planned.
It was very spontaneous.
It was spontaneous. I mean, and who doesn't love spontaneity, right? I love spontaneity, but not that kind. Because there was no cameras, there was no pictures, there was no speech. I was just like, I want to be able to tell all my future children, and by children, I mean I'm a teacher, so my classroom children. He thinks I mean the ones I'm going to bear. All right?
The one you will bear. Right? Ones. Sorry.
I promised him one more pregnancy. Just one more. Okay.
I like twins. That's one pregnancy.
Okay. Okay. So, Anywho, 2 weeks later, I wrote him a note and I let him know that I was calling the engagement off. But it wasn't because I didn't love him. It wasn't because I wanted to end our relationship. It was just because our relationship had a lot of fixing. And I honestly at this point realized that when he proposed that second time, that it was kind of forced, in my opinion. It wasn't something that he really wanted. I know he wants to marry me, but wanting to marry someone doesn't mean it's time to get engaged. It means it's time to get ready to get engaged, you know? And it wasn't a breakup letter. It was a letter that, I don't know, when you read the letter, what were you feeling?
It was an I love you, I want to be with you, but we're not ready yet type letter.
All right.
And I still have the letter.
No, he still has the letter. So if you want him to read the letter, leave that in the comments below. And I just feel like both he and I, because at this point of his proposal, I'm planning this extravagant wedding. One we can't even afford, right? And it's not that we won't come up with the money or that my father wouldn't pay for me to get married. It just wasn't us. That's not us. We've never been that flashy couple. No. Now, mind you, we love, to look nice, do nice things and things like that. But, some $30,000 wedding, like, that's not us. And at that point, right, it was a red flag for me. And also, like, he wasn't even really helping. And not the I'm a man, I'm not helping kind of way. I could tell he wasn't as enthused as I could imagine he'd be had he been ready to propose. Like he was in a process, if you don't mind me sharing.
No.
Process of finding his own stability, his own job, and just being more of a provider. And even the question popped up. I'm like, yeah, okay, you want to marry me, but what's your plan? Like, how are you, if I don't work tomorrow, how would you take care of me and my son? And he couldn't answer that. And to me, that was the first sign that maybe, love is not enough. I think that you should have a plan as a couple on the future, and you should be on the same page. I don't think we were on the same page, and I do think that we were honestly doing things because that is what others expected us to do. Nobody really said it, but they said it, and I felt like if it wasn't that way, then it was wrong. And now our relationship was everybody's relationship, and I think social media can do that to us. And so I call this engagement off. Whoa.
Basically, what she's saying is our relationship became open to others, and they had more control than we had over our own relationship.
Yeah, and it was a myth. It was a mind thing. It was like we were playing mind games, and our relationship got really bad. Like, it was weird because you would think our relationship got bad because we called the engagement off. No. We were actually good for a few weeks, and then shit hit the fan, like, heavy.
Bad.
To the point where he was going, had already talked to his mom about going home. I mean, we faked still being engaged when we went to see his family at the beach because we were ashamed. And I was ashamed for my own reasons. He was ashamed for his own reasons. But together we were both still ashamed. And once again, social media makes us feel like we're not allowed to change our minds. And I know, 2 weeks ago, we got our shit together. If you want to know what happened 2 weeks ago, we'll tell you. But we can't because it's date night and it'll take too long. But 2 weeks ago, we realized with an opting out option, the option, he could have dropped everything and went back to North Carolina. I could have dropped everything, stayed here, but continued with my life. We realized that that's not
what we wanted.
And for the first time, it was what we wanted. Our relationship doesn't make sense. I've even had homegirls be like, girl, I'd have been like, peace, you want to go? Bye. And then I realized in myself, we were both at our lows. It's hard because most of the time, only one person is, you think in your mind and in reality that it means when I'm low, he'll bring me up. When he's low, I'll bring him up. But we were both low. And how are we going to bring each other up? So
like the blind leading the blind.
It's the blind leading the blind. We were stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, it just didn't make sense. But the only thing that made sense to us was, the little boy in the picture behind us, and the fact that this is exactly where we want to be. And we chose to stay. And I can't speak for both of us. I'm going to speak for me. I've loved this man for 8 years.
I've loved you for 8 years. You know that.
I know, but I'm speaking for myself.
Well, you can speak for both of us.
No, I'm going to speak for myself. You speak for yourself.
Go ahead.
All right. So, I've loved this man for 8 years, okay? 8 continuous years. Good, bad, ugly. To the point where some people will be like, girl, you need to leave that man alone, right? But I have never loved him as much as I love him right now. After the rock bottom we just met. And that is what I realized the day that we were faced with the ultimate decision that he was just going to go home. And since then, it's been pretty good. I don't know. How do you feel?
I feel like it's been great. I have to go as far to say great instead of pretty good. Things have gotten bad. Like you said, we hit rock bottom. But once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. And we're on the up and up. We're doing a lot better. We're a lot closer.
A lot closer. The communication is amazing.
Like, everything is better. So, like, if you hit rock bottom, don't give up. If that's a person you truly love and that's who you want to be with, fight for it. Make it work. It's worth it.
Yeah. And I like that he said fight for it, because if you see my Facebook page, my favorite quote is "Fight for the fairy tale. It does exist." And if you follow Disney or any childhood stories, there are multiple fairy tales. At some point, somewhere, somebody had to write that story. So our fairy tale is our fairy tale.
You are my fairy tale.
Stop it. We're trying to make it short. Like what are we at?
Sorry.
But our fairy tale is our fairy tale, and it's a story that I can't wait to tell my son and my future children. It's a story of hope. It's a story of love.
It's a story of never giving up.
Right. You'll laugh. You'll cry. You'll be confused. You'll be like, so how did y'all make it this far? Like, you have no idea the stories we could tell. And especially not even like the stories of us together. Like, what happened individually for us to get to this point. You would have no idea. And
at the end of the day, love conquers all.
Absolutely.
And if you love somebody, be with them.
I like that. If you love somebody, just be with them.
Like, don't be afraid. Do what you got to do. Make it known and act on it.
But don't be crazy.
Like, no, not.
It's got to be two-sided.
Yeah, not like crazy. You gotta know that they want it too.
Like, you can't start stalking them.
If you love them and they love you, be together.
Exactly.
I love her first, though, by the way.
That's not true. Because he did not, you did not say anything to me. I said something to you.
Anyway, if you want to hear the rest of this story, drop it in the comments.
And now that he's left you with a quote, I've left you a quote, I'm going to leave you with one more. You reposted something on Facebook. It said, get you a woman that will build you up and not like a finished product. I don't remember verbatim. It was something about like, get you a woman that'll be with you while you're still a work in progress and not just basically when you're already the ideal product. We both don't know. We'll put that.
Like, to sum it up, get you a woman that's going to work with you while you're getting yourself together and bettering yourself versus a woman that wants you already
then you
be built up.
You see the authenticity. I think about people like Ice Cube and his wife. Like, she was with him when he was just what is his name? O'Shea. There we go. His son is so talented.
Oh. He is talented. I'm glad you said talented.
Great actor.
Good. That was Good choice of words.
Did I mention I don't have a filter? Oh, God. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to leave you with one more quote because it might be, we have to leave at 7 because we have to drive.
It's date night. We got to go.
We have to drive at least like 40
Got to hit the road.
But I'm going to leave you with this quote. He made that status. He tagged me in it. And I literally made this up on the drive. I said, if we're down together. And if we're up forever. Because like he said, you know, there's only up from here. He used to tell me that all the time. He's like, we're in a low place, but when you're low, you can only go up. You could get a little lower. We did learn that.
Unfortunately.
But no matter how low you go, there's always an upside.
You just got to keep a positive mindset and like just work for the best. You can wish for it and you can hope for it. But if you don't work for it, it's no good.
Man, you can never underestimate a quiet person. The thoughts that go up in here, he doesn't talk much, and that's like that was good, man.
Like if you don't work for it,
cheers.
And that's how we're gonna end it. Peace. We gotta go.
2 peas. That's what I tell my son. To the moon and back.